afternoon, everyone. My name is Anna, and I'll be leading your afternoon warm-up session. So we're just going to start off with some marching in place. Nice controlled movements, just get that blood flow going. These are going to be activating our hip flexors, as well as just waking up the body for this upcoming warm-up. So shake out those shoulders, bring those feet hip width apart. We're going to go down into a squat. So what I want you to picture here is imagine that you're sitting back in a chair. So I want you to be on the back of your heels, toes should be able to wiggle, and you're just going to sit back in that chair. Awesome. We're also going to wake up those arms a little bit. So as we come up, bringing those biceps into a nice controlled curl. Awesome. Making sure that back is nice and neutral, not too arched or too hunched over. Good, you guys. Really waking up those muscles. We're now going to bring our feet a little wider than hips width apart, pointing our toes to each corner of the room. We're going to come down into a sumo squat. So these are going to be working those inner thigh adductor muscles. So same idea, sitting back into a chair. Awesome, you guys. Keep it up. I'm sure you're doing great. Have a good workout today. Good. A couple more here, just to activate those glutes and inner thigh muscles that we sometimes tend to neglect. Great, you guys. Awesome. Coming back to standing nice and tall posture. I'm getting a little cut off there. We're going to go into some deadlifts. So again, from a side view, you'll be leaning back on those heels, slight bend in the knees, keeping that back nice and flat. We're going to bend down and then come back up, squeezing those glutes. So as you bend down, you should be feeling those hamstrings tugging on you a little bit. This is going to wake those bad boys up. Awesome. Keeping that back nice and neutral. Keeping our gut tucked in and that core nice and engaged. Good. And also make sure you're looking at the ground so you're avoiding any neck injuries and things like that. Got a little bit of sunlight coming in today. Great, you guys. Shake out those legs. Your legs should be warming up by now. We're going to come into that same position again, that nice flat back and kind of leaning over position. This time letting gravity do its thing. We're going to hang our arms nice and low, relax those bad boys. Kind of clenching our fists. We're going to squeeze the shoulder blades back into a row and extend back down. Awesome. Should have mentioned at the start of this, but for most of these exercises, for example, like bicep curls or rows, you can add a bit of weights just for some resistance. So feel free at any point to kind of just pause this video if you'd like to hit those. Now, next, we're gonna, at the top, hold, squeeze those shoulder blades like you're squeezing a book between those and bringing our arms straight back to the wall behind us. We're gonna really be waking up those triceps here. Good, slow, controlled movements. Go at your own pace. Don't forget to breathe. Awesome. And squeeze. Make sure every movement for warm-up is intentional because it's so important to get those muscles pumping, that blood flow moving. Awesome. Always be thinking about form as well. Coming back into standing position now, we're going to come up onto the balls of our toes for some calf raises and slowly coming down. This can be a little tricky to balance on sometimes. So if you have a wall nearby or a chair, that always helps me for just maintaining balance, not kind of falling over. Also, we're going to add a little arm work into those lateral arm raises, starting to work those shoulders and those upper back muscles. So make sure your shoulders are good and set and that you're not, having that nasty posture. These exercises are kind of good for fixing that as well because it's strengthening those upper back muscles that can get really tense and kind of strewed over. Great, you guys. Nice controlled movements. Awesome. All right, bringing it now down into tabletop. We're going to be starting off with some bird dogs. So if you haven't done these before, you're going to be lifting opposite arm to opposite leg simultaneously and stretching to opposite sides of the room, just like that. Really reach. But of course, there's always modifications with exercises like these. So if you're just feeling like warming up the shoulders today, you can just switch arms like that. Or if you really want to focus more on the glutes, give your arms a break. You can also just switch off with each leg. Awesome, you guys. Keep that nice flat back. All right, kind of wiggle those hips out a little bit. Our next exercise is going to be glute and abductor focus. So kind of wiggle out the butt. Awesome. And we're going to have our wrists coming straight under our shoulders, our knees right under our hips. And we're going to be doing some fire hydrants. So what this looks like, I always like to tell folks that how dogs like pee on a fire hydrant, same movement. They're using those abductors. So really bring that back leg up. I want you to focus on bringing your knee to the ceiling. And that's going to activate these side muscles. So bringing those. If you want to take it up a notch, you can extend that leg straight out. And again, lifting those. Another option, of course, is to take those weights that I offered before, tuck that between your knee, and then add a little resistance there. Good. A couple more here. Awesome. And the last one, switching over to the other side. Again, for all of these exercises, we want to make sure we're engaging that core, keeping a nice flat back, just looking at the ground, going at your own pace. This is definitely my weaker side, so sometimes my knee doesn't lift as high, but these are great and really easy exercises to kind of just put into your daily habits, because they're really going to strengthen up those glutes in that central area quickly, because they're really hitting those big glute muscles. Awesome. Again, you can take that leg out and straight. Good. Next, more of a focus on our glute muscles, less so on our abductors, going into donkey kicks. So switching over to the other side. Actually, you can stay on this side, not as much movement then. You're going to flex that foot, point it up towards the ceiling, so like you're standing on the ceiling, and pressing that foot, you want to be kicking the ceiling with your heel. This is going to be activating those glute muscles. And another modification to kind of activate those hamstrings a little more if you didn't get enough from those deadlifts. You can straighten that leg, point it, point your heel towards the back wall, and then lift as such. Great, you guys. Throughout this warm-up, just go to the best of your ability. You just want to focus on good warm-up form and alignment. Good. So taking that other leg, flexing that foot, pressing it up towards the ceiling. We're really feeling those glutes burn out. Great job, you guys. And slowly extending that leg and bringing it back down. And what's a warm-up without some good old-fashioned push-ups? There's a couple options here. You can either go on your hands and on your toes, and pushing down as low to the ground as you can, and then back up, or from your knees. I'm going to stick with knees. We're trying to get that chest all the way down, making sure you're not leading with your head and bending your neck, because that can cause a lot of neck pain. But we do want to be engaging our core throughout all of it and keeping that back nice and flat. Good job, you guys. Feel the burn. This is going to be working your chest and your triceps. A lot of people kind of forget they get that tricep burn from push-ups too. So all around good exercise. Couple more there, and then we'll go into some planks. So coming down into plank, you have another option here of either going on forearms or extended arms. You can either, like push-ups, go from your knees or from your toes. So a couple of modifications there. Just make sure you're going and having proper alignment, no peaks or valleys. So we're going to just hold it here for a little bit, really activating a lot of those core muscles, keeping those engaged. Awesome. 3, 2, And 1. Ooh, that can really be a core burner. Planks are another one of those exercises that's great to be including in daily life, daily habits. So coming onto our backs now, we're going to do a little bit of core series and then go into some stretching, and I'll let you guys get your next exercise. So lying flat on our backs, making sure our lower glutes are nice and tucked under there. We are going to have our knees kind of pointed up towards the ceiling, bringing our fingers behind our head. We're going to come up into a crunch, lifting those shoulder blades out and crunching up. Our goal should be to be looking at this wall right across from us, gaze between the knees, and that way we're in proper alignment with our head and our spine area, but you should be feeling that core nice and engaged. Couple more crunches here. Keep it up, you guys. You're doing great. Awesome. 3, 2, and 1. Shifting those knees onto our side. We're going to activate some obliques now. So same idea, bringing those fingertips, resting them right behind your head. We're going to bring our right elbow to our right hip. Just imagine that they're connected at a string and you're pulling it to get nice and tight. This should activate all these side muscles. I'm sure you feel them by now. But it's so key to get our core nice and engaged for warm-up because it's a huge stabilizing component for all of our exercises. It's important to have a good core. Helps with alignment, with posture, with all that. Awesome. Switching to our other side now. I'm going to do our other set of obliques because we got two of those bad boys. Good. And coming up, bringing that elbow to the hip. Good, you guys. Keep up the good work. Hope you're smiling on the other end of the camera. This warm-up is nice and brief and really accessible for any part of the day, so I highly recommend coming back to it. If ever you get the chance, it's great for just warming up all those muscles. Great, you guys, and 3, 2, 1. Feeling that core. Awesome. Kind of wiggling out those shoulders a little bit. We're now done with those main exercises. So coming into butterfly position, we're going to press our feet together. Camera kind of cuts off a little bit. And pressing our elbows on either side of our knees. We can really feel that inner adductor stretch that we were working earlier. A little bit of our hip flexors are kind of just stretching out. We want to make sure to keep that nice and loose. Don't want those getting tight. Extending our next leg out. You can also get a nice side stretch. If you bring this opposite arm over to help and stretch the back of our hamstrings. Usually I'll feel it in my side, especially since all the sitting I've been doing with COVID. Bringing that leg out to the other side. It's really easy for my side, like sitting areas and like lower back to get nice and tight. Just because I haven't been on my feet as much this semester, so this stretch is awesome. Great. Coming on to tabletop position, going into a set of few cat-cows. So cat, arching the back, and then hunching over cow. This is going to be working those erector spinae, those back muscles, as well as stretching out those core muscles we had burning earlier. Awesome. All right, coming into standing position, we're going to take one leg. This is a bit of a balancing act. And holding that, we're going to be stretching out our quads, holding this back foot. If you have a nearby chair, nearby wall, that always helps. Or a fun trick I learned is just placing finger on your belly button or staring at a non-moving object. That always helps. It's a little bit cut off here. Bringing our other leg up, really feel that stretch. And we don't want our knees coming out to the side. Keep it nice and close to our center point. Kind of hug that other leg. And the more you press your hip forward, the more you'll be able to feel kind of this upper quad, but also your hip flexor area. So all around good stretch. All right, our next balancing act here is bringing our leg into the figure 4 stretch. So resting the outer edge of our ankle onto the opposite quad, kind of forms a 4. That's why they call it figure 4 stretch. And leaning into the back of our heel of this stabilizing leg, we're going to be able to feel a good outer hip stretch. This is going to be great for our glutes, for our abductors, all those big boy muscles. So awesome. And balancing on our other leg now, bringing that ankle across, resting it like a table. You want to keep that back nice and straight, no arched backs. Woo. This leg is a little harder to balance for me. And leaning, the further you lean back, the further you kind of crouch down into a squatting position almost, the more you're going to feel that. But again, don't be stretching to the point of pain, just to some resistance. Great. Shaking out those legs, bringing our right leg forward, left leg back. We're going to be having a slight bend in this front leg, straighter leg in the back. And you see my back heel is a little off the ground, almost touching the ground. But if I bend that back knee a little bit, I'll be able to open up those calf muscles and stretch those out a little more. Or by straightening it, oh, there we go, activating the calves either way, kind of feeling that hamstring. It's also a good balancing act. Awesome. Bringing that other leg back, feeling those tight muscles start to open up. Warming up is just so good for your body. Stretching afterwards always feels so great. Awesome. Make sure you can also be doing some opening chest stretches, opening back exercises. So this will open up the chest, and then bringing our fingers forward, clasping them together, kind of stretching out that upper back, upper shoulder area. Awesome. Shaking out those arms, coming back to face the camera. We're going to just march it out a little bit here as we had started before, bringing one arm across and holding that, adding a little tension. So we have our right arm across, and by pulling with the left arm on the forearm, we're going to be able to stretch out those shoulders and upper back a little more. And other side, good. Mixing it up a little bit, we're going to do some side steps here. Taking our right arm out, palm facing up. I'm going to face it towards me, towards the camera. Taking our other hand and bending those fingers back. Just a nice slight stretch of the bicep. And bringing it across over here onto the other side now. Good. Now taking this left arm that you just stretched out towards the back, resting your palm on the back. We want to take our other arm and press down on the elbow. You should get a nice tricep stretch. Good. Other one, same idea, keeping that posture nice and straight. Shaking out all those limbs. We're going to end on a high note. Get that heart rate up again so you're ready for your exercise. Bring into high marches, quickly picking up the speed into a nice high knee jog. And now for these last few seconds, we're just going to go max all out, running in place, get that heart rate, that blood flowing, even more so you're ready for your exercise. So I'm going to count 3, 2, 1, and good. High knees, high knees, high knees. Keep it up. Awesome. Nice straight posture. Good. Nice high knees. And bringing it back to a lower pace. Slowing down. Shaking out those limbs once more. Awesome, you guys. You're all done with the warm-up segment for the day. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.